Hello and welcome to this video, which will present how SpaceSense's VRA Zoning tool works and what you can do with it. Our VRA Zoning tool allows you to create zones over a field based on parameters that you can define. This can be done for multiple use cases, the most common being creating fertilizer prescription maps, identifying irrigation management zones, and identifying long-term high or low productivity zones. We have two types of VRA zonings. Single layer VRA, which only uses satellite data as input to generate the zoning, and multi-layer VRA, which uses satellite data and up to 4 other layers of data that you can provide, like yield maps, soil maps, or irrigation maps. You can decide the importance of each layer through a weight system, ensuring that you get exactly the results that you want. In both cases, you can select the number of output zones. This solution will not provide you with the final prescription map containing the quantity of fertilizer or water that you should apply, but it will provide you with field zones based on parameters that you input. This product should be used by agronomists or use input formulas validated by agronomists. Finally, please keep in mind that what you are using is a demo and the final product is the API access that is embedded behind the demo user interface. So let's get started. First, you access the demo website. So you can log in, you can put all of your information in there, and then you log in. First, if it's not already done, you can register the fields that you're interested by clicking on the Add My Field button up there, and then wait between 10 and 30 minutes for the system to download and process the satellite data for your field. Then you should be able to find your field listed here in the My Field column. Here you have the demo fields that are available on each demo account. So then to access the VRA interface, you just have to click, let's say for example on this field in France. Here you have the NDVI value. We'll select a more interesting day because at the moment of this filming the harvest was already done. So let's go in May, for example. So here you can see the NDVI image of this field on the 22nd of May. So if you want to access the VRA interface, you just click on this button. So a single layer VRA will be generated using only one satellite generated vegetation index as an input. This can be done with one specific date or by getting an average over a specific time period. So the only requirement for the service is to have the field already registered on SpaceSense's Crop Health API and to have historical data available for the date of the period you want to run VRA on. So if you register a field, that will be the case. So then when you open the window, you have access to several settings. So to create a single layer VRA, you need to change the following ones. The first one is the index. Obviously you can select among all of the available index to take the one that is the most relevant. In this case, we'll keep NDVI. Then you have the time period. Here you can choose to run the VRA over a single date or over an average of a time period. By default, the option is on single date, so select this option if you want to run it over a time period. So if you didn't select the time period, you'll see then only the date here to select the date at which you want to run the VRA. And if you have selected the multi-day, you will have the start date here and the end date here. So here we'll keep it as a simple date. So when you select the date, it will be run on the closest dates available, which doesn't have a cloud-free image. And then up there you can select the number of zones that you want as an output. So here, and we'll enter the date that we selected before, the 22nd of May. And then we click on Generate VRA Zoning to run the operation. So depending on the number of zones, the size of your field and the number of layers, the process can take between 5 and 45 seconds. And the results is this zoning. On the right you can see each zone, as we said 5, with the average value of the zone for each pixel. So the color scales goes from red to green, with red being the lowest value and green being the highest one. One thing to be aware is the influence of field boundaries in the zoning. As you can see here, the lowest value appear to be on the border, and it's usually influenced by approximate boundary definition or hedges along the border of the field. So that is something to be aware of. The multi-layered VRA requires the user to provide the additional layers. These can be anything as long as they are presented in a shapefile format. So the most common maps are yield maps, soil maps, or irrigation maps. So in addition to providing the shapefile files, you also need to know the name of the attribute contained in the shapefile that you want to use, as it will be requested. So let's go to fields where we actually have some shapefiles. So we'll be using the VRA sample 3, which is, as you can see here, a patch of field which is quite varied, so not great if you want to grow things on there, but great to show how the zoning system works. So we can here open the window for the VRA. So the first part for the vegetation layer is the same process as previously described. So here we're gonna keep NDVI, keep it as a single date. We're gonna use today's date, and we're gonna keep the number of zones to 5. And then we can click on the plus button, which will create a new layer. So this opens a new interface for custom files with multiple settings. The first one is to select the files that you want to use. So there you'll have to load the fields from your computer. So keep in mind that you need to at least input the mandatory files, so .shp, .shx, and .dbf. So that's the case here. I have an additional file, and then we need to input the attribute. So it's the name of the attribute contained in the shapefile that you want to be used as layers. So if you want to use several attributes from your shapefile, you need to create as many layers as attribute that you want to use. So here ours is called test value. So we'll use that. And finally, we have the weight system here. So this setting defines the weight that each layer will have on the final results. So if we take a 2-layer VRA, like it's the case here, with one layer with a weight of 1 and the other with a weight of 2, the layer with a weight of 2 will have 2 times more importance in the final results than the other layer. So this is very useful to calibrate the correct importance of each layer. In this case, we'll keep it as a 1:1 rate ratio. So if you want, you can create 3 additional layers for a total of 5. So, and if you want to change the weight here, don't forget to do it before you click on generate. And now we can run it. So again, this will take a bit of time depending on the number of shapefiles and the size of the field. And there we have it. As you can see, it's zoning, which is based on the satellite imagery and the layer that we have added. And that concludes the presentation of our VRA zoning tools. If you have any issues with it, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to help. Thanks.